This is Nick Ricada, and you're listening to a Sunset Sea production. It's better than whiskey.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the inaugural episode of a new little series that I decided to put together. Kind of just a spontaneous, spur of the moment thing. Got Spider Bear here as always. Got my co-host Simone, little sidekick Simone, hailing from the Philippines. And I'm of course Haugen from the U.S. And this is the first episode of Imperial Chess, and it's just going to be a little series, small little series where so Simone and I kick back, we hang out for a bit, kind of like Imperial Reposes, but just, more chess-oriented. We'll play like 2 or 3 rounds per episode. Probably, just play for an hour or so, basically, and just chill and have, conversation about whatever comes to mind as we do it. And, I might throw in some jazz music in the background just to kind of, have that cozy mood that I'm trying to go for with these. These are really laid back, really chill, just, kind of minimal effort on our part, but it's fun, and I really need to work on my chess game because I haven't really played for a while, and so it would be cool to kind of like actually work on a skill while we also make videos. So it's kind of like killing 2 birds with 1 stone in that, and plus, Simone and I get to hang out too, it works perfectly. I don't know, from all conceivable angles, let's just say. So I don't know, Simone, how are you? What's going on with you?
I think it's good. I haven't played chess for 3 months since the last time that we did it.
Right, yeah, so you're looking forward to getting back into it?
I think I really get back from the start.
Do you think the series will be a hit? Do you think all the kids will love it as much as we like making it, or like watching it as much as we like making it?
Maybe because I'm not really good at chess, or maybe I'm a bit, or I don't know if I guess you're better than me even with chess. So I don't know. Like, compared to the serious one for the people who play in the master level or a tournament level, so
yeah.
They might find that more relatable than, because it wasn't as serious, maybe as competent or a heads-on game compared to those.
Exactly, yeah. You and I are true men of the people. We have that relatability factor that those genius Russians don't. Those genius Russian chess masters or whatever. But I guess without much further ado, let's get into this first little match of ours. I'm white, so I'm a white. I have the white pieces, so I get to go first. A little bit of white privilege there. Chess is racist, but there you go. Move my first pawn, and that kicks off the game. Don't really know if you guys can see Pete too well. I can never really seem to find a good place to put him. Maybe like that. I don't know. It's never really. You're not a very convenient mascot, Pete. But there you go. Oh, coming out with the horses right away, Simone. I see you. Bringing out the big boys right off the bat, huh? That's a bold move. But, let's see how it goes. Okay, cool. So, while we play, I guess we'll just have a casual conversation. It's kind of hard to do that when you can tell that you're being recorded, though, So I hope that eventually we get to a point where we're used to being recorded and we can just kind of talk more naturally, But I guess while we're playing now, the first question that I want to ask you is, I don't know, I guess let's just get into like cultural stuff, because I'm from the U.S., you're from the Philippines, so there's a lot to get into with that, It's 2 completely different worlds almost. I guess just to start, I don't know, I should probably start with something basic, but I'll go with one of the bigger questions right off the bat. Would you say that you're proud of being a Filipino? Are you happy that you were born in the Philippines? Would you have it any other way? Or if it were up to you, would you have been born in some other country? Or are you satisfied with the way that things turned out, the way that things happened in your life, In terms of being...
I think I'm proud in the aspect of to to neglect all the issues, the political issues, or the negative history that has, or the way that I live my childhood, or my childhood experience in general. It's great. I think that you can experience the same thing in other countries that what we have here, or the culture is always open for. You have I don't know. I read some regarding the speech or freedom around here, but I think the issue of around here, it depends on how you exercise your freedom. If you're an activist, of course, the government will do something to terminate you or to condemn you, or but it's a matter of perspective on the things that you're going to do, I guess. But I had the best childhood, even though I don't have this computer in front of me before, or video games. Just more on the laid back stuff.
Right. So when you were a kid, you were probably all into like going out, playing outside with your friends, climbing trees and kind of living the nice. Because you grew up in like a rural setting, right? Like a small town, kind of out in the countryside in the Philippines, right? So
Yeah.
you had all that to offer. You had the real world. So that's a pretty fortunate childhood. A lot of people, especially in the, I guess partly in this generation, but especially in like the later generations. The generations that come after ours. They they don't know what it's like to not grow up without the internet. They don't know what it's like to live in a world that doesn't have the crazy super advanced technology that we have these days. It's like, I feel like I don't know if we're part of the same generation or not. I mean, you're 3 years younger than me. I don't know like where the distinctions are made, like where the lines are drawn or whatever. But I guess I'm a Generation Z, Gen Z. So, I don't know. I grew up when I was a kid, the internet was still kind of slow, still kind of expensive. Computers were still blocky. I mean, it was like great compared to, I don't know, like the technology of any other time up until then, obviously. But it wasn't what it is now. It wasn't as convenient and it wasn't as nearly as widespread, And I didn't spend all my time on the computer the way that I do now. I'm kind of, that's something that I don't really like about the way things are these days. It's like I kind of have this, I don't know if it's like an impulse control issue or whatever, but it's just I kind of spend the majority of my time on the internet, and on my laptop, even when I don't want to, and it becomes a problem sometimes because there are moments in the day where I'd much rather spend my time watching maybe watching a movie or reading a book, because I've got a fuck ton of books, like got a whole stack. That's a whole stack of books I want to get through before I even get to all the stuff that's in my library, because I have a whole personal library that I've barely even touched ever since I started collecting books, that is. And it's just it kind of sucks because one thing leads to another, and I go on YouTube, I just check it, as soon as I wake up in the morning or whatever, I see that there's an interesting podcast by a channel I like or whatever, and I sit down and I watch it, and before I know it, it's like 4 hours have gone by, and the video's over or whatever, but it's like I still want to keep going, so I click another one, and then someone else uploads something, and I got to watch that. It's like, I just get stuck in this stupid little, like, behavioral feedback loop, I guess, or this recursive, whatever loop cycle, endless cycle, and it's just, I don't know. I know that it's probably a first world problem to have. I think it's common, though. I think it happens everywhere, but, I think it is a bit of a spoiled. I think it's a good problem to have that obviously that I have such a good internet connection, and I'm so fortunate to be able to complain about something kind of as mundane as that when you compare it to all the other problems in the world, all the other shit that's going on every single day, even in anywhere. I mean anywhere. It's like it's not always about well, I don't want to say that, but it's like things could be so much worse, I guess. That's how I'll say it. But I don't know. Do you have issues with like being on the computer too often or being on your phone too often? Like, do you wish you could cut back? Is that a problem for you, or is that just a me thing? Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, I think every month I have the problem of trying to quit my social medias. But, even though I already unfollowed all the the not important stuffs or the people I don't want to see. It's just there's an impulse for me that I need to get through all the what's on my feed or to browse all of it, even though it's irrelevant. Just I'm always trying to cut it off. I think the same with my friends. I guess they're also trying to do the same to disengage from the social media, not because it's the negativities that are in there, but the impulses, or I guess it's too time consuming. I guess the sole purpose for me to get into the social media to kill time, but it's already consuming all my time.
Right. Well, and why do you think we're like so addicted to it? Like, why is it so tempting to just spend the whole day scrolling through like pointless Facebook posts or just watching YouTube videos? Like, why so bound to it? Do you think?
Maybe it did something appealing to us, or it has something that we cannot get into the outside world. You're a different kind of space, or I don't know. That's why they think that there are some conspiracies under the social medias because of how addicting it is. But I'm really curious why am I really addicted to the stuffs, or why I think it's what I'm getting into it even though I don't want to.
So, do you think part of it might be just the fact that it is the connectivity, you know, the sense of connection that it fosters, you know, like you kind of feel like you're more attached to your immediate community and then like the community at large, like the rest of the world, you know, you can get into touch with people that you couldn't talk to any other way, you know, if it weren't for Facebook and YouTube and Twitter and all that. Do you think that it is that sense of community, perhaps that sense of unity, maybe that sense that you're doing something productive without having to work too hard, maybe like, you know, like I guess, I don't know, a good example, it's kind of an outdated term now, but as with all things that come from the internet, right, but keyboard warriors, you know, people who spend pretty much all day, the stereotype of a person who spends all day just getting into arguments with people on Twitter and Facebook and all that, and you know, spouting their whatever their, you know, their political opinions of choice, right, or of what is that term? Political opinions of taste, maybe. I can't think of the words, but you know, whatever side they take, they love to go on and on about it. You know, they like to get into arguments. They like to talk down the other side or whatever. Right? It doesn't even just have to be in terms of, you know, politics. It's not a strictly political thing. It could be about anything. You know, you got people on like certain subreddits and certain forums and stuff that you know, let's say like hardware or something. I don't know, like construction people even maybe. You know, there might be a construction community on the internet where some users they might not they might feel the need to kind of belittle other people or whatever. They might feel the need to kind of exude that sense of arrogance, or gamers especially. I mean, nothing against gamers. I mean, they're just. I mean, what is a gamer anyway? It's not like some group. It's just people who play video games. You know, but it's like that. That's something I've noticed as well. A lot of people who tend to self-identify as gamers. I'm a gamer, you know. They're usually like the biggest fucking douchebags you'll ever encounter online, you know. And I have some theories about it. I mean, they're not like mind-blowing or anything, but you know, I think a lot of what that comes down to is just the fact that, I don't know, the internet for a lot of people, I mean, the internet could be great, but it does kind of bring out the worst in people. And it also attracts the worst kinds of people, in the sense that, you know, there aren't really very many filters. You know, all you have to have in order to be on the internet is a Wi-Fi connection. And some people, you know, I'm willing to bet that a lot of people who use the internet don't even own like computers at home or whatever. They might just go to like public libraries, have a library card, have a pass or whatever, and just use the computer on there. And that's where all these weirdos come from, I guess, you know. But I mean, you know, you don't have to be normal in order to have a fucking, you know, computer anyway. It's like anyone can. You just have to have the money for it. You just have to be willing to pay Wi-Fi or steal it off your neighbor or whatever. But I think a lot of what I think a lot of the kind of dysfunctionality of the internet, I think it comes from the fact that there are no filters, there are no barriers. The people that you meet on the internet, that you encounter, that you interact with on a regular basis, in real life, if you met those same people, you wouldn't have to talk to them. You know, You probably wouldn't meet them at work because they wouldn't have the credentials to work at the place you work at. Maybe you wouldn't really have to see them at school because if you're hanging out, if you're stuck in a class with the weird kid at school or whatever, you can just ignore him. You know what I mean? You can't really do that on the internet. You can't really ignore people. They know that too. I think that's the problem. I think they think they have power, and because they think they have power, they do. And what it comes down to is the power of belief. And the fact that they're missing something in their regular lives, their real lives. And so they feel the need to try to get whatever that thing is that they're missing. Maybe it's a sense of superiority. Maybe it's a sense of control over their own lives. Maybe there's some issues going on, whatever it is. They go onto the internet to vent. They go on the internet to get that out of their system. They go on their internet to kind of play out some fantasy, be some somewhat more idealized version of themselves. But the problem is that a lot of these people, they're not really all there. They're either not all there or they're in a bad spot. We've all been in bad places before. We've all been in negative headspaces and all that, mindsets and whatnot. And I think a lot of these people, they're very bitter and they're very vindictive and they kind of want revenge. They want revenge. They want to avenge themselves for whatever wrongs have been committed onto them or whatever. Maybe they grew up in abusive households. Maybe they're getting bullied at school. Maybe the girl they like turned them down. Whatever it is. Whatever it may be, they go onto the internet to purge. And that's kind of a lot of what happens, I think. And also just the fact that, again, probably a lot of them, they might not have very good social skills, so they might not have friends in real life. They might try to talk about the things that they talk about on the internet to people in real life, people at their workplace, people at their school, and those people might ignore them because, they just they take one look at them or whatever, like that this person's fucking weird, and that's it. They just get shut out right away. On the internet, that's not the case. And what's worse as well is that on the internet, guess what? They meet other people who are exactly like them in that sense, And so those people validate each other, and it becomes just one giant circle jerk where it turns into mob rule, basically. Mob rule, because a bunch of assholes feel like being assholes, they basically get to run the show. And that's the problem. A lot of these major social media platforms have been infiltrated by people like that. Twitter's a shitfest right now. Reddit's pretty bad. Reddit can be good, but it's mostly bad. It just depends on where you go, but for the most part, I would say the vast majority, at least 75% of the subreddits that I've experienced anyway, that I've been on, and from what I've heard, are not very good. You go on them, you try to ask a normal question, you're sincere, you're just you just want some information or whatever. People are downvoting you left and right. People are going, "You're a fucking idiot, you're a moron, get the fuck out of here." It's all that. It's just bullying. It's just another form of bullying. It's just the 21st century extension or evolution of bullying. That's all it is. And I don't like to use the term bullying because it sounds stupid. I don't know. Too many school PSAs have made the term kind of redundant. It kind of sounds preachy and juvenile, but it's true. It's mob mentality and it's mob rule, and it's crap. It's the internet is one giant circle jerk and it's one giant kangaroo court, and it's a wasteland for the most part. It's a moral wasteland. I think, and that's the problem. You can do whatever the fuck you want, pretty much, without fear of consequence, because you can call someone 100 miles away a fucking dickhead, and nothing will happen. 1,000 miles away, nothing will happen. You can cuss someone out from the other side of the world, and they're not going to come beat down your door and stab you to death or whatever if you insult their mother or whatever. You know what I mean? It is what it is. And a lot of people who probably shouldn't feel as though they have power do, and they do feel as though they have power, and it's the power. What it comes down to is it's the power of their belief. It's not necessarily the power in and of itself. It's a placebo almost, because they want it. They want it to be a certain way. It is, and that's kind of that kind of begins to analyze some of the chaos that is internet culture. But I think it only skims the surface. To be honest, I think there's so much more to get into. It's incredibly complicated and complex. But I don't know. What do you think of all that, Simone? What's your take on everything?
I think that the internet offers something that you can get into. For example, what the reality lacks for you, or you didn't get much from the world. It's the internet. For example, the information, and especially in social media, that the freedom that they have in this social media. You can be anyone that you want to be, and the ways you can't be tracked down, or people won't know you. There's even though you did something, for example, you did some scam, you didn't use your own name, or you're intelligent enough to orchestrate a large fraud. People can track you down. Because people on the internet that can be anonymous. It's just you can attack the privacy of everyone while also having the shield in front. It depends on how you use it. And also in the Philippines right now, what we have in the internet right now there are a lot of people who wanted to get famous, or YouTube, especially YouTubers, or social media influencers. They wanted to. It's not only in the trend, but also it all something. They kind of get the superiority or the attention that they wanted to.
Right.
Yeah. For example, being trolled on the internet. I guess they're passionate on tormenting other people, or maybe just define these things if it's negative. It's given the sort of or excitement that they can do in the reality, because they can face the consequences after. For example, there's not much concrete in Constitution. For example, in the laws, there are not much laws that govern the internet. So you can't be the consequences of the actions, even though to compare it with the ones that we have in reality, it's much more worse than it. You can't be put in jail or be punished.
Right. It's your move, by the way. Yeah. Yeah, but before I continue, I did notice that I wasn't. It's kind of difficult to do at first, but let's try to and this is for me too, especially. But let's try to make sure that we multitask. You know, because I feel like we just stood there for I sat there for 10 minutes just rambling. So I want to make sure that we both keep balance talking and then doing this as well. Well, you bring up a very good point, Simone, when you say that, because that's the next question that I wanted to ask you. Actually, is do you think government regulation or some form of I guess legalized legal authoritative regulation of what goes on the internet and stuff, do you think that's the solution to a lot of this stuff? Do you think you need to have some sort of cyber police showing up and kind of telling everybody what to do, and dictating what kind of behaviors you're allowed to get away with and what kinds you're not? Do you think that's the solution, or is that maybe a little too intrusive? Does that defeat the purpose of the internet? And does that create even more problems that we can't really see right now, or that might be worse than the problems that we have already? What are your thoughts? Because it is a complicated thing, so I'm sure both are both sides of the issue. There's some truth on both of them, but I want to know what your take is before we get into a little more of that.
To look at it, it's also the internet is not only what we're talking about, and we're talking about the negativities that we found on the internet, or the negative side or negative part of the culture of the internet. But also, we should also look at the brighter side of the internet. The internet, in the countries that have gone into wars, or there are some political issues that they can for activism, or it also gives them a room to do the things that they can do. For example, they can exercise their freedom vocally or in the physical manner. But it gives them a chance, or that they can do, or because some of the laws are too, for example, here in the Philippines, there's a new law that they're implemented, and it's very controversial, the anti-terrorism law, and it's against the Bill of Rights, because in the Bill of Rights in the Philippines, and also I think it's also based on some of the I'm not sure about this. I haven't much about Constitution, but it's also might be similar to the ones that you have in the US that uh, you can put in jail or get imprisoned or caught on hand without the warrant of arrest, or you can only be sentenced to jail right away if you're caught in act or just seen leaving the crime scene. It's just in the anti-terrorism law. There's a part the 16 or something. I forgot about it, but it tells when the government suspect that you are doing are you being a activist or doing something that might threaten the constitution or the government itself, you could be sentenced to jail right away without any due process or something.
Oh shit!
I mean, before the yes,
So,
but I think
yeah.
it wasn't as bad as here. So I think I'm playing. Uh, I'm playing safe because I'm not exercising my freedom that much because of these things.
Yeah, that's kind of a problem, isn't it? Because I mean, they could arrest anyone they want, for whatever political reason they want. If someone's criticizing them, they could just go, "Fuck it, you're committing an act of terrorism. You're you're demoralizing the public faith in the government or whatever." They could come up with whatever bullshit excuse they want. They don't need to have any due process, so they could just fuck you over in a second. That's nuts, man. That's wild. I don't like that at all. I that really sucks. Not that things are much better in the U.S. to be honest. I mean, not that because let's just be honest, man. Like if a corrupt government wants to do what it wants to do, it doesn't need to actually adhere to the laws. It'll come up with whatever reasons it needs to avoid having to actually adhere to the Constitution, to adhere to a Bill of Rights, whatever. But that's fucked up that they're so confident in themselves that they're not even willing to hide it. That's scary. You know what I mean? The fact that they're not even willing to make up some bullshit reason or some bullshit whatever to cover it up. It's not even a fine print kind of thing. It's just straight up. It's we will fuck you over. That's what they're trying to say basically. By in having a counterterrorism law like that or whatever. It's we're just saying don't fuck with us. Know your place. You are beneath us. You will never be above us. Basically, it's basically it's a my way or the highway kind of situation, isn't it? That's rough, man. But do you think? So you think? But do you think? Do you think people on the internet have brought awareness to that though? Do you think it helps that people? Do you think people go out and they talk about that and that creates I don't know, some sort of active form of resistance against it, or are people not utilizing it as much as they should? I don't know. Are there ways for people to do more about that, bring more awareness to it? I guess we're talking about it, but it's not like anyone watches our shit. So I don't know. What do you think?
Of course, there are some people that are using the internet in a good way. For example, like this one, how I get a knowledge about this anti-terrorism bill. Of course, there are some people that gave us a concrete knowledge about it without any biases. But there are also some troll people that are using the internet to make some good people bad, or making for example, just in that way, there are some also people that are serious with fighting the injustices in the reality outside the internet. But there's also something that just people that I don't know if it's okay to use the word retard, or because they didn't have this common sense that what they're doing can affect really not only the people but also a bigger picture. For example, doing some making fun of everything. I mean, there should be a limit to what they're going to make fun of.
Yeah, you got a lot of edgelords online. Yeah, and there are plenty. That's a huge issue. People who don't who aren't cognizant of or don't care about the consequences of their actions. They just do whatever they want. Fuck it, live in the moment or whatever. I don't like people like that. I don't like that attitude. Like that whole like I don't know. Those are the kinds of people who like their only thing in life is like they I guess they take the memes too seriously. You know what I mean? Those are the people who usually identify as like, I'm a meme lord, I'm a whatever that shit. Fuck that, man. That's too much. You're a little too deep into it at that point. You got to pull yourself out of the fucking rabbit hole. Grow up, get a job, work, get a taste of the real world, and shut the fuck up. That's what I think about people like that, man. I hate that shit. Those are the people who would just, the world's burning and they're gonna laugh at it. It's just retarded. I don't know. It is retarded. That's the perfect word for it because I don't know. If you act that way, you've done it to yourself. You deserve to be called that because you're doing it to yourself. I wouldn't say, it's like I hate people who police that term as well too because it's like who's really going to go out and call someone who is actually mentally disabled retarded? No one, because that's low hanging fruit, And if you do, you're a fucking douchebag. Obviously, that's not what people mean. More people mean fucking morons than they mean when they say that term. They more people are referring to just dumbasses who have no common sense than they are actually mentally disabled people. That's just a little side note, a little tangent. But yeah, I hate that shit. Just say it. It is what it is. And if I don't know. If someone who's actually mentally disabled ever came up to me and said, "Hey, man, I don't really like," or if someone else said it, maybe like the parent of a mentally disabled child or something, if someone like that, who the issue actually like directly affects, like came up to me and said like, hey, it makes me uncomfortable or whatever. I don't like it. It brings up bad memories. Whatever. I wouldn't say it. I wouldn't say it in front of them, but I'd still probably say it. But because it is what it is. But yeah. Anyway, damn, you got me. You got me there. Shit. Okay. Let me figure
To
out.
go back in the conversation, there are also some people. I guess it's saddening how people think that the best profession to make the best out of your life is to become a YouTuber or to become social influencer. I guess every kid that I know, elementary kid that I see on the internet or just around the neighborhood, it seems like they're dedicated to do something that will make them famous in the internet. I guess they then how the freedom of the internet give shades or make them think that it's the best thing. It's the only thing that they can do or make sense of their life.
Yeah.
And also there are some. Oh, I guess I use this term. Retarded YouTubers or TikTokers that I heard from my sister's phone. It's annoying to hear that they obviously to become famous they're doing not famous or infamous. They're really infamous because they're doing controversial stuffs or stupid things or mistakes just to make up noise to make them famous. The foundation of their character or their identity in the internet is all the negative stuff that they did.
Well, yeah, because they don't care about craftsmanship. They don't care about artistry. It's not about talent. It's just about, let me let me try to do the cinnamon challenge. Let me try to, I don't know, let me eat a Tide Pod or some stupid shit like that. Let me drink a gallon of bleach, see what happens. Film myself doing it. It's all this bullshit. It's all shock and awe and just it's notoriety. It's no and the internet. That's a major issue. It really does facilitate. It encourages people to be as egotistical and narcissistic and self-serving as possible because you get rewarded with validation. It's basically right now validation and attention Those are the biggest forms of currency out there right now, Even more important to people than money these days. I mean, look at Twitter. Look at the companies that make like shitty movies that nobody wants to watch. They put all this political messaging in their stuff now and etching or whatever, to get their political perspective out there, and not in like a tasteful, kind of clever way or anything, but just in a you're evil because you don't agree with me, just obvious hit the nail on the fucking head bullshit. And those movies aren't making as much money anymore. Hollywood's kind of dying right now. They're just not willing to admit it. This streaming war shit's not gonna. Not to get into like a whole tangent about the entertainment industry or whatever, but it's like, yeah, I think it's all connected to a certain extent, for sure. Just like everything in life, it is life, so of course it's all going to be connected. But yeah, I mean that's the problem, isn't it? Is that these people they want attention, they want to get extreme reactions out of other people. They feed off of that. That's what they live off of now. They don't even care. Back in the 80s, it used to be about making money with all the yuppies and shit. It was about materialism. That's kind of died out a little bit now. It's still around. It's always going to be around because materialism is just one of those things that pushes all the right buttons as far as our base human needs go, right? But yeah, I mean, these days it's all about the attention, the fake shit. Not even real material whatever. It's just, hey, how many people can I piss off today? How many strong reactions can I elicit with the things I say and the things I do? Do as in just go on the internet and yell at someone for fucking half an hour or whatever. Fucking dumb shit. And you've got this whole generation of kids growing up thinking that's the norm. That this is normal. That this is what you should do with your life or whatever. It's fucking dumb, man. I think the bubble is gonna burst eventually. I wonder what those kids are gonna be like in like 3 to 4 decades. 30 to 40 years. I wonder if they're going to be well adjusted or if they're going to be really like fucked up because, this is what they grew up with. This is kind of what molded their personality and everything. I don't know, and their expectations for the future and how the way things are supposed to be and all that. I don't know. It's going to be really, really interesting in a kind of bad way to see how this all plays out eventually. But yeah, I don't know. What do you think? What are your predictions for the future? How is this all going to turn out? What's going to happen to social media? What's going to happen to the internet? What's going to happen to all these internet kids when they become, I guess, internet adults?
I guess if there won't be any action that it's not the government but also the media government or the heads of their, or maybe what if they come into consciousness that this isn't these things that they are implementing or they are making up as a trend are not really helping the people. It's just it's make them it's a matter of being conscious, I guess, of the consciousness that I think that there should be something that will make them conscious about the decisions that they make. This will make the will lower the probability that there will be a very big negative effect on the world. So
yeah,
because it's alarming how they use the internet right now. How it been actually messed up.
Yeah, I don't like it very much, but I don't know. There's a part of me that's optimistic about it. It's like the human race has been through so much more, so much worse. This can't be the thing that ends everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think we'll figure it out. It's just a matter of growing pains. I don't think history. We'll look back and we'll go, shit. It makes perfect sense why everything was so messed up. It's because this was the first time that we were really dealing with something like this. We've never really. The internet is an unprecedented invention. It's an unprecedented phenomenon. Nothing like this has ever really existed before. Not on this scale. The world is completely different from how it was just really even 5 or 10 years ago. So of course it's going to be hard to get used to. Of course people are going to have problems with it, but like everything else, we'll get used to it. We'll figure it out. But we have to do that, and I think that's the problem that a lot of people have today. They kind of look back to history. They look back at the other issues that, the previous generations went through, our parents and our grandparents and our great-grandparents and so forth. And they kind of just, I don't know, there's this weird sort of there's this weird sort of, I guess, inference or assumption that that everything's going to somehow like magically just work itself out in order to make that change happen, occur. I think people look back to history and they make the mistake of assuming that everything just sort of changed overnight, that just the forces that be in the universe or whatever just make everything happen, and it's not people campaigning, it's not the activists, like you said, actively, championing change and that sort of thing, and in the right way and in a genuine way, So I think that's what it comes down to. I think people need to inform themselves on what's going on in the world more. I think they need to take more like real material action instead of just yelling at each other on the internet. I think if there's a cause that you care about, you should go out and do it. Like if you want to clean up after natural disasters or something, volunteer to help, volunteer to join a cleanup crew and clean up after a monsoon or typhoon or whatever, something like that. Or if there are if there's like an orphanage near where you live or something, volunteer there, make food for the kids, clean up, donate clothes, donate old toys, that all that sort of thing. I think what people need to do, I think what every single person needs to do, not to get on my moral, soapbox about anything or whatever, but like, yeah, I'm just gonna say it. People need to, they just need to do what they can to make the world a better place. They need to brighten up their little corner of the world. That's what it is. You can't save the world by yourself. It's never gonna happen. But you can make your little part of it, your little square, your little box, just a little bit prettier. Just a little bit tidier, just a little bit brighter, just a little bit nicer. That's what and if every single person did that, guess what? The whole world would be much better off for it, because all of that adds up. All those little boxes, they form the globe that is, the fucking spinning ball of dirt that we live on. So I think that's what it comes down to. People just need to understand that a little more. And I don't know how you get them to. That really is it's a personal thing. It's different for everybody. Everyone has their own journey, I guess. But that's just how I see it. I don't know. Do you want to play another? Match?
Sure.
Okay.
Like I said, to compare with the dark past of the human history, what we have now is just it's more the answer is lie in front of the problem itself. The answer to how we will change the negativities that surround the internet is also right in front of the internet itself. It's just a matter of how you'll do it or what way.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna hit resign. Hit accept resign. I think you have to hit accept resign. I think you keep hitting the wrong button. Hit the one that ends the game, basically. Hit the button you're not hitting right now, basically.
Where?
Not sure. So it says here that I can press this flag basically to resign, and I think you have to hit the button that says accept resign, and then that'll end the game, and then we can restart. We can do another match. You might be hitting the wrong button, I think, maybe. I think, right? There you go. Okay. And then I'll hit rematch, and then we'll go another round. And then maybe we'll do one more after that, and then we'll end this first episode of Imperial Chess. I don't know. How do you think it's been going so far, Simone? You enjoying this? Is it a good series, you think? Good idea? Something that we could do more often?
Yes, I guess. I didn't play much chess about. I used to play Dama or the checkers, Chinese checkers, if that is.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how it's the checkers.
Yeah, Chinese checkers. Yeah, cool. I've never really played that, so yeah, that's good.
To call this game Dama, but they're the one that I think that we already played it before. There are some circles, and then it's a matter of conquering all the pieces of the of the opponent.
Yeah, I think that's checkers, right? You know what? Yeah, you know what? Message me what that's called, and I'll look it up on my phone as we play, so that the audience can know too. I'll go get my phone real quick. It's on my nightstand, or my dresser. Sorry. Be right back. Oh, okay. So let's see what this is called. Yeah, message me what it's called in on Facebook, not on Discord, and then I'll look it up, and then you can continue with.
I guess because of the call, my message is still sending.
Oh, okay.
The internet can process.
Yeah, that's cool.
But this game, I already searched it. What it's called, droughts in English. We used to call it Jama because I don't know where this came from. Everyone in the Philippines used to call it that way.
Okay.
It's droughts.
Oh, excuse me. Droughts. I've heard of that before. I've never played it though. I've never played it. It's kind of like an old people game almost. Like I think something they played in like the early to mid 20th century. So that's cool. You guys are nice and you got that vintage taste over there. That's cool. I like that. I respect it. Yeah, I've never played this before. It looks like a different version of checkers. Yeah. Oh no, it is checkers. Oh, okay. Oh, it's checkers. Cool.